In the personal story segment tonight, liberals love to nitpick everything Sarah Palin does and says. The latest? Well, these remarks at a Christian women's conference last week.
I'm hearing any leader declare that America isn't a Christian nation and poking an ally like Israel in the eye. It's mind-boggling to see some of our nation's actions recently, but politics truly is a topic for another day. Lest anyone try to convince you that God should be separated from the state, our founding fathers, they were believers. And George Washington, he saw faith in God as basic to life.
With us now is Reverend Barry Lynn, Executive Director of Americans United for Separation of Church and State. Barry, it's great to see you as always. Now,
nice to be back.
Tell us why that drives you insane.
Okay, I think we established, to be blunt about this, that Sarah Palin, Governor Palin, really doesn't read the newspapers. We found that out during the campaign.
Okay,
now we're finding out that she doesn't read history either, or she would know that some of the great framers of our country, James Madison, Thomas Jefferson, even Andrew Jackson, who is probably an NRA member, as well as a supporter of the First Amendment, didn't want to have the government involved with prayer. So it drives me crazy to see conservatives who are hypocritical, who want the government out of everybody's life and everything around them, except for one of the most important things that individuals choose, whether to be religious or not.
Now, why is it always that conservatives are the hypocrites on this? Because I'm going to hoist you on your own petard here. Liberals are always out there saying, well, the government needs to do this and the government needs to do that. We've got to do the health care. We've got to do this bailout, that bailout. We've got to do all these things. And yet conservatives say, okay, well, we actually think these moral issues are really important for the government to support, overwhelming majority of American people on this issue. So what? Well, what's wrong with that? And so liberals say, the government can't talk about morality. The government can't do this. Well, why not? You want the government to do everything else, right?
No, because we want the government, at least I want the government, to do many things, but I want them to keep out of several very important things. Religion, number one. Sex, that's another good thing for them to stay out of. And personal...
Sex trafficking?
No, not sex trafficking. I'm against sex trafficking.
How about statutory rape?
I firmly support the idea that there is statutory rape. You know what we're talking about. We're talking about the government.
About the right to
I don't want the
abort
government in my church. I don't want the government in my bedroom. I want them to stay out of certain discrete and intimate areas of my life. Now, why is it that anybody in this country who is religious needs anybody, whether it's Nancy Pelosi or John Boehner, to get involved in their prayer life? You would think we'd run away from that.
I think what we're seeing is that a lot of folks out there, Barry, think that Christianity or Christians are actually the last acceptable people who can be discriminated against. I'm just telling you a point of view that people, I think people share this, and they think that look, Franklin Graham was going to come and address the Pentagon, okay, and a lot of people agree with them, don't agree with them, but if you're a Christian, you believe there's one path to salvation. Now, you're a reverend, so you believe there's one path to salvation, right?
No, I don't, as a matter of fact. But we could have a theological discussion later. But this is
I'd say that 80% of Christians in the country believe that the path to salvation is Christianity. That's being a Christian.
National Day of Prayer at the Pentagon. Why is that about?
Let me finish. But that then would lead you to believe that Christians would believe that sort of everybody would become Christians, and that's not going to happen. But in an ideal world, that's what most Christians believe. You want to be fisher of men.
Yes.
So that's what they believe. So why say that Franklin Graham can't come and give a prayer when they're basically saying we all need prayers? We need prayers from everybody. We could have Muslim prayers, Jewish prayers, Christian prayers, all prayers welcome.
No, actually, we can't have that, because Franklin Graham is a person who went one step further. He, on the record, as recently as this week on this very network, not only says all people who are Muslims need to convert to Christianity, but he's called the whole religion wicked. He called it evil. He called it violent. Does this help? Yeah, but does the Pentagon have to give him a place to speak about this, which is, in fact, going to make the terrorists say this is a crusade?
How about Muslim clerics who actually work in the military? Do Christians go and say, no, Muslim clerics can't be there because we disagree with some of the hateful things that have been written in Gaza textbooks about Jews?
No, of course not. We're talking about an official, this is an official program.
Recognizing,
the Pentagon, wait a minute, the Pentagon's an official place. When you have Franklin Graham
in the U.S. military aren't official? No,
Well,
of course they are.
They're not going to be broadcast on C-SPAN, and he would have had that service on C-SPAN. Now we're going to find maybe that the Pentagon, at a minimum, I don't know why it's doing a National Day of Prayer to begin with, to be honest with you, but let's say they do it.
Disagrees with you. They're actually going to appeal that Wisconsin federal district court's ruling, and they're going to actually appeal it, saying, "Look, this is ridiculous. It's a National Day of Prayer.
No, they're not.
We've been celebrating this as a nation for decades. Go back a couple hundred years, and this is something that Are you saying the leaders of our country haven't prayed for us in battle, haven't invoked Christianity, and haven't invoked morality and virtue consistently? You want to name one framer, I'll name another. John Adams, our second president.
Yeah, but I just named 3 at the beginning of this show
to demonstrate.
Care about the
framers, really, except in something like this.
Did the
framers believe you should take over health care?
Why do you think?
Did the framers believe that you should do a stimulus bill that would take over private enterprise?
I have a good feeling that most of them would have been happy with that, but they wouldn't have been happy with taking over your religion or trying to convince you that the best thing, to encourage you to pray, there should have been government neutrality, not promotion.
I wish we had them here to interview. I would love to, but maybe on the next Factor.
They see you in their dreams.
We appreciate it. Reverend Lynn, thanks a lot. And when we